Welcome to Raw Dogs Radio here on a beautiful Sunday evening. I just spent, after the game, I spent a lot of time on Panthers podcast here on YouTube, listening to their take on the game. And one of the biggest takeaways that they're complaining about, as far as the majority of them, is the penalties that they suffered and the missed penalty on the Browns' last drive. You know, the roughing the passer, they're complaining about that, saying that it wasn't roughing the passer, and Jacoby Brissett's attempt to down the ball. All right, because I remember back when Bill Belichick and Bernie Kosar were together. That was the year that we were trying to go to the playoffs. No, the year prior. It was the year prior. And Bernie took the snap, took 3 steps back, and then threw the ball into the dirt because he was instructed if it's not there, just throw it away. They'll just look at it as, you just killing the clock. And there was confusion, but they did mark it down as Bernie just killing the clock. So this is pretty much the same situation. Like, yeah, okay, like he took it, he probably juggled it, and then he spiked it to kill the clock. So no big deal. But they're saying those are bad calls. But in all honesty, what they have been complaining about those calls so hard is Cade York had missed that field goal. All right, because luckily he didn't. Thank God he didn't. We have ourselves a kicker. We have ourselves a kicker. There's no other way to be beloved in the city of Cleveland than by winning a football game on a kick, especially one reminiscent of Matt Barr and Phil Dawson, because the Browns have a history of having great kickers. So at any rate, they were mainly complaining about those two things. And I was countering him, and I was like, you do need to understand that if it wasn't for 2 blown calls in the secondary, all right, Johnson, again, who last year and the year prior to that, the playoff year, was a liability. He cost us a touchdown against the Chiefs, like twice in 2 separate games. But it is what it is. Nobody wants to really look at his play. He's not who he thinks he is. He's not what he used to be. Yeah, he's not what he used to be. Sorry. At the mic volume low. So outside of those 2 blown calls, we win by at least 13 points. It wouldn't have came down to any of that, because we all saw the play of Baker Mayfield, because this is what we really want to talk about. Because I was trying to tell those Panthers fans, I was like, do understand this is the very reason why he's over there with you guys. Like, this is why he's not here anymore. What you saw in that first half, like, yeah, like imagine that just being throughout the game. Like, yeah, as you see, yeah, there's moments of greatness there. There's flashes of greatness where it seems like he can exploit a defense and make the right reads and make the throws. But the problem is that he can't do that on a consistent basis, as we all saw. As much as Baker fans really want to, the Baker Bros or whatever you want to call them, as much as they want to toot the horn of Baker Mayfield, like you have to understand, like he's highly inconsistent. You can't rely on him throughout a whole game. And it's like, well, what quarterback can you? Like, okay, look, there's a difference between good quarterbacks and great quarterbacks and average quarterbacks. Okay, Baker is considered above average because he has the talent, but he's not good. And the reason why he's not good is because he's not consistent. He's not consistent enough to be considered good. But if he was consistent, period, he would be great. And it's all a mental thing. You understand? It's all a mental thing. The decision making. When Colin Cowherd talked about him running from the cops, that video, Colin was like, as he said to Baker, this disturbs me. Like, you're supposed to be going into the draft as the face of a franchise, but this is the type of decision that you make when confronted at night with an officer of the law. Like, you're wearing sandals and you're drunk. You decide to try to take off and run. I mean, you're not very athletic. We've seen you on the field. What made you think you could outrun a cop while intoxicated at night in flip-flops? Like, of course he tackled your ass to the ground with ease and treated you like you were what you were, a fleeing suspect. Had you screaming for your mommy in a high octane voice, begging and pleading and apologizing for your life. You, Mr. Big Tough Quarterback. When confronted with a real situation, you go to shit. This is what they got in Carolina. This is what we were trying to tell them. Well, what I was trying to tell them. Well, I can't just say by myself. I can actually vouch that there were other people in their podcast that were Browns fans that were trying to tell them, hey, look, no, don't sit up here and think that because the game was close and came down to a couple of calls and non-calls that Baker Mayfield is going to work out for you guys. Like, maybe you weren't listening on the television to what the announcers were saying after those big pass plays. Like, yeah, like the safety blew the coverage. Yeah, the safety blew twice. The safety blew the coverage. Johnson blowing the coverages. I think one of them they said was Newsom. The second with the touchdown, I think they said that was Newsom. But Newsom was expecting safety help over the top, which was supposed to have been Johnson. But Johnson switched off to the lower man, which was supposed to have been Newsom's man. Johnson was supposed to ran with him in the slot. At any rate, the first half, he got all that stupid stuff out of the way. I mean, but then again, you take away those two penalties. I mean, those two big pass plays. I think there was also a penalty on the Browns. Uh, and I don't know what the hell MJ Stewart, was doing on that Baker Mayfield touchdown run. Like, you're trying to play the man in the end zone when you're not supposed to be playing the man. You're supposed to be shadowing the man while looking back at the quarterback so you can play the ball. Like, you're all types of pass interferencing. Baker Mayfield just running right at you from 13 yards away. If you'd been looking at him, if he could see your face mask turn towards him, he may have ran, but he wouldn't have scored because you'd have came up on him and probably had to have him make a business decision. But it's just week one. I'm not gonna beat you guys up. It's just week one. Although it is kind of funny how those two blown assignments by Johnson helped the Panthers and the point spread, or at least they helped Vegas because the point spread was like 3.5 in favor of the Panthers. Yeah, it's kind of funny how those two blown assignments led to touchdowns. But at any rate, that's for the conspiracy buffs that like to gamble and whatnot. Um, the ineptness of their Carolina offense, because I can't put it all on Baker Mayfield. We can't put it all on Baker Mayfield because we looked at the final stats, and I mean, one of the other things that these guys were complaining about outside of just those penalties, they were complaining about the offense as a whole. They were like, hey, Christian McCaffrey only had 10 carries for 33 yards. And I was like, what? 10 carries for 33 yards? And then they were complaining about why they didn't run the ball enough. And one of the guys, a Browns fan, and he was right. He said, I'm surprised you guys didn't try to run it up the middle because our defensive tackles are suspect. We don't know if they can play the run or not. These are new guys. But I had to tell him, well, Christian McCaffrey's not a 15 carry up the middle type of guy. He's not that type of back. He's outside the tackles or between the tackles, not between the guards. He's not going between guard and center. He likes to play, outside the tackles. He likes to play in the tackle box. He works best out in space. Like Barry Sanders. But the problem was, while you guys were complaining, I was like, well, you had two things going on to why you were having a tough time moving the ball. Either on first or second down, Baker Mayfield was either fumbling the snap, which, according to the Panthers fans, this safety right here that started, he's known for bad snaps. So they were saying you can't put that on Mayfield. They were wondering why their starting center, the good center, why he wasn't starting. They have no idea why he didn't start the game because he's not listed on any injury reports. So you had those 4 bad snaps. But then you also had the 4 batted balls on first and second down when Baker Mayfield went to pass from the pocket. When he was up under center, oh yeah, those balls were getting smacked down because he's short. This is why Stefanski used rollout plays and everything. Baker talking about, he off the leash. Yes, you are now off the leash. You have to play in another man's offense that's not tailor-made to your strengths. You're not playing in an offense that's tailor-made to all your weaknesses because you have to play from under center. There are no design rollouts for you. There are no misdirection pass plays. Okay? And the running game is really predicated on you being out of the shotgun. There's some pass plays out of the shotgun, like screen and tight end draws and whatnot. But your whole offense is predicated around the running back, Christian McCaffrey. Because for a long time, he was the only offensive threat that the Panthers had. You had an aging Cam Newton with a shot arm, no wide receivers to speak of. Greg Olsen had retired. So the tight end was just nothing. And he's getting old. He's starting to get injured. Been there what in the league? What 6 years for a guy that's not that big with that type of productivity? Yeah, eventually you're going to start slowing down because of injury, which is exactly what's happening to him. Yeah, you just they're gonna have to find another way. They're gonna have to find a way to use Baker Mayfield in order to learn how to throw the football, in order to get the ball to their wide receivers. These talented wide receivers that for some reason, well, I mean, we know why their head guy, their number one wide receiver, I don't even remember his name because I think they said his name once, maybe twice, because they were complaining that their wide receivers weren't getting the ball. Just the big play to Robbie Anderson and the other big play on the two broken plays. They talked about that, those two receivers, but they were wondering how come Sanault and whoever the guy is that they got supposed to be good, like how come they weren't getting the ball? And I was like, you do understand we have two of the top five corners in the league, right? Like we had Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome. Greg Newsome was playing like a 5-year veteran his rookie season last year. Like they attacked him and attacked him and attacked him, and he led the league in pass. You are not going to beat him deep. He was a lockdown corner. Greedy Williams has no chance of ever getting that job back. Hell, we're surprised he's still on the team. Yeah, so the Browns, Ward and Newsome are fantastic at corner. Those guys can go anywhere right in the league right now on anybody's team and be the number one corner on any team in the league. You can't give me a better corner than either one of them. So yeah, they shut those two guys down. Their two main wide receivers, they locked them down. You had to go to the third receiver. You had to attack the nickel corner. You had to attack the nickel corner because on the little passes, the little run plays and the little screen passes and whatnot to McCaffrey at the line of scrimmage, where he can operate in space outside the tackle box, he was getting murdered. The Browns corners were coming right up and nailing him as soon as he squared up, ready to call himself trying to make a move. They were all over him. They were sure tackling him. So you were losing yards. 1st and 10 turned into like a 2nd and 13. Okay. Then like a third, then that'll turn into like a 3rd and 7. Yeah, so it was a lot of 3rd and longs. And the Panthers were not able to convert because they were relying on Baker Mayfield decision making in order to pick up first downs. And you could see that he was rushing some plays. I mean, he was so nervous and jittery, overthrowing. I mean, we should have got at least three interceptions. Should have had at least 3 interceptions on them. And then the Myles Garrett sacks. The Myles Garrett sack. He got them back to back. And it was funny because I recorded it and I put it on my Twitter. Like, because I just had a funny feeling he was going to get back to back sacks. So I cut on my camera. I recorded. I was like, like watch he get back to back sacks. Because at first, when you could see he was coming clean, he just whiffed that rookie. It was just sure speed. He just did that shoulder dip and came up and got Mayfield. And then when they lined up, I was like, watch, he about to get him again. Because he had that back foot. He was shaking that back heel. He was ready to hurry up for the snaps. He could get off and tee off on him again because he knew he could beat that left tackle with that move. He hadn't used it yet. That used to be his signature move. Now he's just trying to overpower people. But now that he going back to that shoulder dip, boom, he know he can get it. Nobody dips that shoulder better than Myles Garrett. It's unblockable. So sure enough, he went to do it again, but the left tackle pushed him off, and the left guard was there to chip block, to pick him up. But Myles Garrett, he got such a free release that by the time the left guard got up to call himself trying to block Myles Garrett, he had already was looping around him because he was so fast that, and Baker Mayfield got the dancing in the pocket and bow, down goes Baker. And after that, Myles Garrett was satisfied for the day. He got two good hits on him back to back, and he was good. Shake his hand after the game, smiling. Hey, how you doing, Baker? Yeah, good game. Yeah, he got in two good licks on him, forcing a fumble that the Browns should have recovered. But it's cool. We still won. Yeah, so but I thought the defense did an outstanding job, especially at the controlling the line of scrimmage, getting in Baker's face, making him throw early. They kept him in the pocket because when he's outside the pocket, he can see and then he can make his throws. But they kept him in the pocket and they got them hands up, which totally killed their offense when they had to throw. The only success he really had was throwing from the shotgun because then he could see the passing lanes. Yeah, so it looks like they're learning about his strengths and weaknesses while in game. I guess they didn't have the good goddamn sense to go and grab Browns tapes from the time we went to the playoffs in 2020? They didn't go and grab those tapes or that 11 game stretch and see when he was successful, what type of plays worked for him. And then okay, well, let's add these to the playbook now. Or let's start introducing these into the playbook. These are the strength plays. Let's see if we have anything like it. I understand now why the fans are calling for them to fire Matt Rule. But do understand he had nothing to do with this. They got this guy to start a training camp, so it was what it was. But if they're smart, that's what they'll do. They'll get the film guy to start comprising the playbook as far as the plays that work best for him during that 11 game stretch. So that way they know what to run. No, but he got all cocky with his little touchdown run, got all fired up and doing the finger pointing and stuff. That's cool. It was actually kind of nice as far as for him as the player to see him do something that he failed to do for us on a consistent basis, which is lead the team back to take the lead late in the fourth quarter. Because he only did that for us with the Bengals. And that just sucks. Because he had so many opportunities, especially against the Kansas City Chiefs. Those were legacy games. You win. All he had to do was just win one of those games. Just be the team that can beat Kansas City in Kansas City. You want to be a legacy quarterback? You want to start a legacy? Do it on opening day. If you couldn't get them in the playoffs, well, beat them at home on opening day on the rematch. Let's do the rematch. Because see, beating the Bengals, that was personal for him because of the Hugh Jackson tie. The team didn't really care. Like we just want to win. Like sure, we want to show that we can win without Hugh Jackson, but we might take it for that one game, but we ain't gonna hold a grudge against the Bengals for that. Like the dude's not even in the building anymore. He's not even employed there anymore. We don't care. Uh, no, but well, at least he got a team he hates that he can play well against it all the time. Um, which of course were the AFC champions. No, but it was good to see him do that. It was good to see him do that. But it was also it felt very, very good to see the look on his face when Cade York's 58-yard field goal went in. And the funny thing about it was that before he kicked it, the announcers were saying that, like, when they were in warm ups, all of Cade York's long kicks, because he likes to practice long field goals. Cade York's not a short field goal practicer. He likes to practice the long kicks because he knows that's what he's there for. You need to make the big kicks, bro. Like, big kicks is like 60 yarders. Those are big kicks. Like, his kicks were hooking to the left. And I looked and I said, well, the Browns are on the right hash mark. Like, oh, well, shit. If he hits this solid, if it doesn't get blocked, it's going through. And sure enough, boom, he kicked it. And as you saw, it looked like it wasn't going to make it. And then it started hooking left and it went straight through. Boom, hit the net dead center, which meant he had enough leg. If it was 5 yards deeper, he had enough leg for that. That kid's got a cannon of a leg. He's got a cannon of a leg. And the beauty of it is that he's accurate. That's why he be out there practicing those long 60-yard field goals. He wants to be accurate. He's practicing that cannon. Shit. Hell. I mean, this win for the Browns was not as big as against Denver in '89. Right? It wasn't that big. It wasn't that big because the consequences and the satisfaction wasn't that. But it was more like beating the Steelers for the first time the year we went to the playoffs. The helmet game. It was more like that minus the helmet game. And minus the helmet. Minus the helmet. Because it was bad on us. It was bad on us. But it was a sweet win because we had finally beaten the Steelers in front of the nation. Everybody was watching. Everybody wanted to know if we were as good as we thought we were based on our record. So we went out there and showed people. Again, an ugly, unfortunate ending, but still, we stood up for ourselves. And that's exactly what happened here. Now, Jacoby Brissett, I think he's still rusty. He's still trying to learn the offense. And he's not really one to take risks. So that Donovan Peoples-Jones running open, he had at least 3 steps on the safety that would have been a touchdown had Jacoby Brissett just check deep first. Like, stay with the deep. Check the deep first. If it's not there, then dump it off. You got your combo routes, but get a deep route a chance to develop. But he has short eyes. He gets nervous because he doesn't know just how good of an offensive line that he's playing behind. Like, dude, you playing behind the top 5 offensive line. Like, the only weakness we have right now is at center because Hubbard can hold his own. Hubbard can hold his own. Shoot, you saw he stood up for you. Did you get sacked? Shoot, was you running for your life? You only ran for your life one time. That's because you took your eyes off downfield because the defensive tackle was chasing you. Nice run, by the way. As slow as you are, any other quarterback your age would have got the first down. But, we give you an A for effort. Gold star for trying. Um, no, but, some missed targets and some drops. Harrison Bryant, you guys can't be dropping these passes now. Can't be dropping these passes. But the beauty of it is that Chubb got more than 15 carries in a game. Like when you actually, and Kevin Stefanski, who actually is now listening, taking, this is how you know that he can take constructive criticism. Okay, because finally we got Chubb and Chunt in the backfield together more than once in quite a few plays, and they were successful. But when you go ahead and actually lean on Nick Chubb and your running game, when you lean on Chubb and Hunt, you got Ford, you got Dearness Johnson. All right, you can lean on, these are your power backs. These guys have talent. Go ahead and let those guys eat. Don't be so quick to give up on the run, because that play action on first down BS. I mean, come on now. It got to the point that even the the reason why it wasn't working in the second half was because you had run it so much that the Carolina Panthers defense stopped biting on first down. They just stopped biting on first down, and then when you actually did run on first down, it picked up about 7 to 9 yards. Because they expected you to pass. Hell, even when they were expecting you to run early in the game, you were still running and you were still getting yards. I mean, Chubb had almost 100 yards rushing in the first half. I think he had like 14 carries at that point. So he was killing them. He was killing them. Hunt with that, what was that, 28-yard touchdown run? Right up the middle. All he had to do was slap some people's hands off his arms. He ran right through them little sorry attempts at tackling him and just went in untouched after that. Right up the middle. I mean, right up the middle. The Panthers defense so weak, is so soft against the run. You gave up on it. Well, you still didn't use it properly. You were still misusing it to the point where you had to put the game in the hands of Jacoby Brissett. Luckily, you were smart enough to mix some runs in there and not just totally have him drop back and throw all the time. Good Lord, no. I'm glad you learned your lesson about, playing with a limited quarterback. Baker Mayfield taught you that lesson. See, you both learned from each other. You can both grow. I see Baker, because they saw, this was funny. You saw Baker Mayfield when he came off the field after another 3-and-out, or when he finally did get the turnover or whatnot. He was over there talking to the coaches and Christian McCaffrey. Because it got to the point that they were like, dude, I can't get through to you. Christian McCaffrey was explaining it to him. And I mean, you have a quarterback coach on the team. And the first person that they did show him talking to was indeed the quarterback coach. And then next thing you know, the only person that was talking to him about the plays with the chalkboard and everything was Christian McCaffrey. And it's like, well, why is he doing that? Like, damn, like that's messed up. Like these people really feel that they can't get through to you. Again, you take away those two blown secondary coverages by the Browns, this game doesn't come down to a Cade York field goal. But at least we did learn something about our team. That this is going to be a very physical team, very gritty team. These guys are not giving up. The old Browns, Baker Mayfield Browns, we lost that game. Y'all know it. Y'all know it. We lost that game. If it had went down, let's say it was Sam Darnold out there, and then suddenly Sam Darnold and they got the lead, and then it came down to Baker Mayfield, we lost that game. He'd have thrown an interception. Something stupid would have happened because he's that inconsistent like that. One of the things that they were talking about, some of the Panthers fans, they said it seems like he lacked pocket awareness because he was sacked 4 times. All right, the two of Myles Garrett and then the other two. They said it seemed like he lacked pocket awareness. Like, he does that. He'll to the point where he'll hold on to the ball too long, or he'll call himself trying to run out of the pocket, thinking he can outrun somebody, and he'll get chased down and sacked. Or he'll throw the ball up, or he'll try to make a play. He'll either throw it up, calling himself trying to make a play, or he'll actually try to make a play. And the problem is he just sometimes when he's going to his left, his arm talent isn't that good. And he's not as accurate as people think he is. You saw that. You saw he had passes from the pocket that we should have picked off because he was missing the wide receivers. This was the stuff that OBJ was going through. This is why Robbie Anderson excuse me. This is why Robbie Anderson said no when they first heard that Baker might be coming to Carolina. Because this is what OBJ was going through, where I'm wide open and you're missing me. The ball's nowhere near me. Who are you throwing it to? It's almost getting picked off. It's landing at my feet. Inconsistencies. I mean, I told him, I was like, I think y'all might go 8-9. As far as like being a real threat, I don't think so. Like y'all gonna be frustrated because I'm gonna tell you what, I'm actually gonna tune in. I'm gonna tune in every Sunday after a Carolina game, and I want to hear where the sentiment is. Ooh. I'm not gonna watch the games. I just want to hear once it's over, I'm gonna go to the channels. I just want to hear what the sentiment is. I mean, I can always listen to the Brown stuff around this time. Like usually it takes about a good hour to gauge where people are, but then after that, I can just tune that crap out. But I just want to see where they sit week after week after week to see if they finally start to come around to understanding why when this guy was up for trade bait, there was no bidding war. Why your general manager made Baker Mayfield eat $3 million. Well, the Browns made him eat $3 million, and your GM was only willing to pay for 5. And understand that this is the best you guys could do. Like he's not. I doubt very highly he'll be in Carolina next year. I doubt that very highly. At any rate, we'll see how he does. Because that fan club, look, you guys are annoying. You're annoying. Like, fool me once, uh, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Peace.